Hello folks, welcome back. In this tutorial, we will talk about loops. What are loops? So far in the if-else statement, what happened was we were checking a condition and either the if block will run or the else block will run, but they will run at least only once. Loops is basically when you wanted to execute something more than once. In Apex, you have three different kinds of loop: for loop, while loop, and do while loop. All of these execute more than once based on a particular condition. As long as the condition is true, it's going to keep repeat itself. Otherwise, it's going to exit that loop. So let's go and start with the while loop. So let's say if I ask you, go ahead and print numbers 1 to 10. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and declare a variable called integer I, and I'm going to initialize the value of the variable as with 1, and I'm going to say if the value is less than 10, I'm checking this. If the value of this variable is less than 10, I will want to go ahead and display something. Okay, I wanted to go ahead and debug, or I'm going to say I'm going to display I, and I'm also going to increment I every time. So I'll say I++. I++ is going to increment the value of I by 1. Okay. And so this is what I've done. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the value of I is equals to 1. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the value of I is 1. Is value of I less than 10? So is 1 less than 10? The condition to this is yes. The output is yes. So it's going to go ahead and execute this statement system.debug of I. It's going to go ahead and print 1 here. Now we did I++. The new value of I is I plus 1, so that becomes I is equals to 2. Is 2 less than 10? Yes, the value of 2 is less than 10 because 2 is less than 10. It's going to go back and again execute this system.debug I. So it's going to go ahead and execute this statement, and then it's going to do I++. So the value of I became 3 now. Next thing is 3 less than 10. Yes, 3 is less than 10. It's going to go ahead and execute system.debug of I. I is what? I is 3. So it's going to go ahead and print 3. I++. Then I became 4 now. Now 4 less than 10. Yes, that's true. It's going to go ahead and print this line. System.debug of I. What is I? 4. It's going to go ahead and print I. Similarly, it will keep continuing till it reaches 9. Okay. I became 9 now. Let's assume 9 less than 10. Yes, that's true. It's going to go ahead and print the value of 9. 9 plus plus. Now what is the new value of 9? I became 10 now. 10 less than 10. No, this is not true. This condition is false. So it's going to go ahead and execute this. So it won't come inside this loop again. Okay, it just comes out execute. Now it's going to go ahead and print up to 1, 2, 3, and it will exit out at 9. It won't print anything after that because the condition does not meet. Let's go ahead and do this example. So we're going to go ahead and create a new Apex class, and let's say we call it as while loop example. We'll go ahead and click OK. In this class, I'm going to go ahead and declare it, call a method public initialize a variable called I with 1, and I'm checking while I less than 10. And this is my while loop block. So this is, you have to start with the curly brace and close with the curly brace. So this is my scope of this while loop. So this is the scope. Here inside of this while loop, I'm saying if this condition meets, execute this block. So I'm saying system.debug the value of I. And I'm saying I++. This is called as the post increment operator. Okay, so this increments the value of I by 1. Go ahead and click save here. Now similarly, now I'm going to go ahead and execute this condition, and I'm going to say this is my class while loop example. So I'm going to go ahead and say while loop example, and I'm going to run this method of this class, so loop while demo. So I'm going to go ahead and say this one. So now I'm going to say execute. Now if you click on the debug, it has printed 1 to 9. Now let's say, because what's going to happen is it initially started with 1 and it keep incrementing until this condition was true. Once the condition became false, it came out of the loop. Similarly, let's say if I say I less than equals to 10, what's going to happen is it's going to go ahead and print from 1 to 10. So if I go back here and execute it one more time, it's going to go ahead and print 1 to 10. So this is called as the while loop. For example, here, if I go back and let's say I change it. So in this case, let's the condition is not true. If the condition is not true, so if I say I value is equals to 11. Now, even at the first time, what's going to happen here is 11 less than equals to 10. This is not true. So now if this loop is not going to execute. So if what's going to happen, we have started with the value of I as 11. And now we are checking while 11 less than equals to 10. That's not true because why 11 is greater than 10. So this is not true. So this loop will not execute because the condition does not meet. So what's going to happen is if you run this, the output will be nothing. Nothing will be printed because it's not going to go inside the while block. So this is called as the while block. So if you go ahead and debug it, it's not going to print anything. So let's go back here. Now we're going to go ahead and do another loop called as do while loop. Now in the case of do while loop, you write it like this. You say do this. Okay, we write a block of statements while, and then you check the condition. Okay, you do the statements, you write what you want to do, and then you check the condition. So what is the difference between a do while and a while loop? While loop, if the condition does not meet at the first time, while loop will not run at all. But do while means even if the condition does not meet for the first time, still the do while loop will run at least once. So for example here, if you go back and let's say instead of doing while loop, I'm going to say I'm going to use do while loop. So I'm saying do this, do system.debug and go ahead and print the value of I and do I++ while I'm checking the condition now. While I is greater than 10 or less than 10, sorry. Okay. So in this case, what's going to happen here is you're initializing the value of I is 11. So this condition, since this is do while loop, you're checking the condition at the end. So you're saying, is I 11 less than 10? This is not true. But still, it's going to go ahead and execute at least once. Because here, this is a do while loop. You're checking the condition after you have performed. So for the first time, no matter what, this is going to run at least once. So if you go ahead and execute this, go to the debug, execute, and we're going to say execute here. So it will print at least once. So debug is 11. So this is the difference between a while loop and a do while loop. While loop, if the condition is not true, the loop won't execute. In the case of do while loop, if the condition is not true, it will run the loop at least once. So if you go back here one more time to the same class, let me just delete some of the logs. So I'll go back here. Now let's say value of I is 1 and 1 less than 10. Now in this case, it's going to go ahead and print it. So it will start with I is equals to 1, system.debug, okay, 1. 1 plus plus, it's going to become 2. So it's going to go ahead and execute it, and let's see what's going to be the output of the program. So you're checking the condition later, but the condition meets now. So if you go back here, open execute, while loop demo, loop while. So we're going to execute this and click debug. And now it's going to go ahead and do the same thing. So only the difference is when the condition does not meet. So this is about while loop and a do while loop. In our next tutorial, we will talk about for loop. Till then, stay tuned and thank you.